Now, I would like to ask if you have some questions, because I am an authority.
Senator Davis has a question.
I do have a quick question, because I'm a little confused. I think what you said a moment ago conflicted with what another presenter said. In the city of Houston, you said right now, if you stop someone for probable cause of a criminal violation, you can and do seek their immigration status today.
Yes.
And earlier, someone said that there was a general order in place in the city of Houston that prevents their police force from doing that. So can you clear that up?
Yes, I'm very glad that's a very appropriate question, and that's why this bill is so important, because you can make a statewide mandate that every agency has to follow a certain law and can't be a sanctuary city. That I was a Houston police officer before I was a sheriff's deputy. And for 31 years, I was under that mandate where we couldn't ask and we couldn't arrest Class C offenses just because they were illegal. You know, we didn't have a process then. The Harris County Sheriff's Department in the last few years has gone to get the ICE training to have the 287G trained deputies to where if they go to a county jail. Now, the difference is when you go to the city for a municipal court offense, you're still not going to be held accountable, as opposed to in the county, once you go there, they could put you on the detainer for illegal immigration.
Because Secure Communities right now is being employed through all of our counties in Texas, correct?
Yes, but see, I just had an arrest last week where I had to deal with it was an off-duty arrest of a road rage. The guy that got road raged on, another guy beat him up, and the guy that was driving, he claims was a failure to stop and give information. Was an illegal immigrant with no driver's license and no insurance, but I had to interact with the Houston police, and they wouldn't. I wanted them to bring him to the county, but they wouldn't do it because they said it was against their policy. So I was able to arrest. It was kind of interesting because it was a guy from Lebanese who was a legal immigrant, but he was just aggravated because the guy ran in front of him and he lost his temper and beat him up. So I arrested him, but the Houston police wouldn't bring the illegal immigrant in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Senator HInojosa.
Yeah, just I guess a clarification. In Houston, when they book and process someone in the city, do they transfer them to the county?
They will if it's a Class B or above offense, but if it's Class C, I'll show you Kevin Will's picture again. I just know what I read in the paper. The guy that killed him on the DWI had been deported twice. The last time was 2005, but he had re-entered the country and been arrested twice by the Houston police and released because it was a Class C misdemeanor. So he never made it to the county. If it's a Class B or above, eventually they'll file the charges and then they'll transport him because the county jail is the one that holds all the Class B and above offenses.
Yeah, and I guess some of the so-called loopholes, you know, when they commit a crime, there's part of the, I guess, during the session we try to sort of close that loophole.
Yes.
In here, the Secure Communities thing.
No, I know, but I was just pointing out because what's happening in a lot of cities, for example, they'll process someone for a felony and bind them out at the city level without ever transferring that person to the county jail, and therefore that person never checked. I mean,
yeah, that's correct also. But that's why this bill is so important. That it's very simple. Everybody's making it too complex. You know, I appreciate everybody's. You know, it's a sensitive area because people want to help people, but if there's a law that says they're here illegally, we have to process them when they commit a crime.
But would you agree that you as a law enforcement do not have authority to arrest someone just for being in this country illegally?
No, I don't agree.
That's federal law, sir.
Yeah, but what did I just tell you about us? It's in the state legislature, our oath of office that says that we're commissioned to the best of our ability, enforce, protect, and preserve the Constitution and the laws of the United States.
This is what the United States Supreme Court has said. If someone has committed a crime, you can inquire, and whether they're here in this country legally or not. You cannot just stop someone who's Hispanic who's walking down.
But that's not what I said.
Well, you know,
no, I answered your question. If I know they're here, Ms. Davis, Senator Davis asked the question about probable cause. If I have probable cause to believe that you're here illegally, I can arrest you. Now, what the problem is we don't, without your law, if I'm a Houston police, I don't have anything to do with you. So they don't do it. But if you put this law in place, and there's no training involved here either. I mean, we all know what probable cause is. We all know that you've all talked about why do we stop people? I'm telling you, we're so overrun, we don't even have proactive policing anymore. All we do is run calls. We get the call, DWI, accident, domestic violence. And if I could make one point about the domestic violence complaint, in the last 2 months I've put 2 domestic violence perpetrators in jail that have been detained for immigration and deported, and their wives were illegal also. We didn't do anything to them because that's not our job. So our capacity to do our jobs and to be sensitive to their being abused by their spouses actually worked to their good, because we were able to, well, you put a detainer on them, you put a emergency protective order, and then once your court case is over with, then they'll be detained and I lost my train of thought, deported by ICE. So it actually works to our benefit.
Actually, just one more point, just from the way I understand the federal statute and Supreme Court decisions, and that is that if you have probable cause or lawfully detain someone, you can inquire as to the immigration status or legal residence status, but you cannot, without probable cause or without being lawfully detained, inquire.
That's correct, but see, you're splitting hairs here. Where does the probable cause occur? The probable cause occurs when I make a call, and then through my research on the call, I determine that person is in the country illegally.
But splitting hairs is what the law is all about when you go to court and want to motion to suppress or find somebody guilty or not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. So those splitting hairs are very important under the Constitution, the rights to protect people.
The only way you're splitting hairs is why did we get the call, or why did you stop the person that we're dealing with?
Well, but those are the statutes.
But see, this is where I think I'm even I don't know what the word is. I'm very progressive when it comes to this. Everybody has to understand when you come to this country illegally, you're already breaking the law. That's a violation of law. I took an oath to enforce the Constitution and the federal laws. Now, that doesn't mean we don't have the time. We're not going to run out there and get everybody. All this stuff about rogue policemen, I'll make this other point. The average policeman avoids dealing with Hispanics because they know they're going to get in a mess. They don't want to have nothing to do with it. And so it's just the opposite of what you've been projected here. There may be a few exceptions to that rule, but I've seen it in 3 different agencies. The policemen don't like dealing with it because it's so complicated and complex. You guys could make it easier by passing this law. It's very simple if you pass the law.
Thank you, sir.
Can I follow up with this line of questioning here? I mean, this is, I think, creating a lot of confusion here. And as far as I'm concerned, potential misinformation. You're saying, as I heard you, that because you think you have probable cause, that this person is here unlawfully, illegally, as you would say, that you have the authority to arrest them.
Yes.
That's what you said. And you're basing that on the oath of office that you're sworn to protect and uphold the laws and the Constitution.
Laws of the United States, yes.
So you're saying that you can enforce any federal immigration law as a deputy sheriff or a police officer? Any law?
Yes, I can.
That's what you're saying?
Yes.
All I can say to you, sir, is that you're lucky you haven't been sued.
I don't get sued because I have the probable cause.
Well,
I've never been sued, and I've arrested many illegal immigrants. Many.
The only time, my understanding of the law is that the only time a state or local law enforcement agent can arrest someone on probable cause that they are here unlawfully is if they actually observed the person coming across unlawfully. Barring that, their being here and you coming upon them and determining that they're here unlawfully is a civil matter, a federal civil matter, not a criminal matter.
No, that's not true.
Well,
sorry.
Anyway, thank you.
I don't believe that.
I understand. Your view of the law is different than mine.